We turned the red rifle into the red water gun. Let's talk about that coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. I am Ace. He is Zim. Bengals coming off of their first dub of the season. But partner, how you feeling after we got that dub this past Sunday?
You see the shirt? You see what time it is? It's 9 time. You know what I mean? Like me and my folks, we practice in the religion of nineism, where you got this belief that anything is possible. Anything is possible. After a Panthers win, I'm back in the winner's circle, bro. Like, you can't tell me nothing. They're gonna be like, "And it's the Panthers." I don't care.
It's a dub.
A dub is a dub. When these other people win games, they don't come back and be like, "Well, you know, we could have da 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 da." Like, nah, I don't care. The reason why people on the internet do not like Bengals fans is because it's a lot of us, and when we win, we definitely acknowledge the fact that we win. So we're gonna treat it like we do. If we would have beat the Chiefs, I'm gonna come with the same energy. We got to. I don't care what game it is. A dub is a dub. How you feeling?
That's big fat. I'm feeling good, bro. We're gonna get into, of course, the Bengals versus Panthers. We'll talk about the Bengals running back tandem, how that's shaking out. We'll also talk about, is Joey B looking like the MVP? I don't know. We're gonna get into that. Amarius Mims, Bengals defensive struggles, and all of that and much more coming up next.
I'm really the best in the league. You know that. Y'all better respect.
Now, I know that we are obviously a Bengals podcast. We normally talk about football, but as we're recording this live, the great Pete Rose passed away. So RIP to him and his family. Passed away at the age of 83. He's got a career average of 303, 4,256 career hits, 44 game hit win streak, 17 times All-Star, 3-time batting title, and a 3 times World Series champ. Rest in peace to him, Cincinnati legend, Charlie Hustle. Just wanted us to, put some homage and pay homage to him before we get into the show. Zim, was there anything that you wanted to say about Pete Rose?
No, I just wanted to extend my condolences to the families and anybody that's affected in it. I know Pete Rose is a legend, and he'll truly be missed.
Nah, for sure. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the Bengals versus Panthers review. Zim, just give me your thoughts on how you felt about this game, how things kind of played out. Bengals got the dub. What things did you like? What things didn't you like?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Shiesty.
Wake up, everybody. Let me tell y'all something. Everybody told us we went 10 months, we waited for football. And in that 10 months, in that standpoint, in that time frame, it was Joe Burrow won't be able to throw again. His wrist. What about his wrist? I don't know. Like, they try to scare us. You got our own reporters like, oh my God, is he putting a glove on? Is he not? Da-da-da-da. You got former quarterbacks telling you that he ain't looking to. You telling everybody, like, I don't care. I don't care about none of that stuff. I'm blessed to be here. We're blessed to see Joe Burrow behind the best offensive line he's ever had. This dude just went a full entire NFL game without getting sacked. I'm sorry, but these are times we prayed for times like this. When we had Sewell versus Jamar Chase or whatever, these were the conversations that we were having. Just protect Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? Before we get into whatever you don't like, let's get into what it is. Bro, Joe Burrow is playing like the best quarterback in football. I mean, Jaden Daniels has something to say about that too. I think what he's done is insane. But Joe Burrow, I'm excited. Maybe I'm a little too happy for the fact that he's playing and they said that he wouldn't. That in itself, like the whole, the cloud of the season before the season even started, it was about this dude is never going to be the same. We don't even know. I think right now he's playing like that run he had in 2022 when they was on that 10-win streak. Now, the defense, I thought in a lot of those instances really bailed them out. You think about that Patriots game where they forced the fumble late. You think about other stuff like that. Right now, this is the offense at its highest peak. Currently, the Bengals are third in EPA per play. They've never been that high. They've never got to that level. Their utilization of 12 personnel is at 36.5%. That is the highest in the NFL currently right now. The Bengals are utilizing different things that we didn't think that they would do in the offseason, and they're doing it at an extremely high level. Scoring 30 points a game, whatever, is things that we talked about. Like, this is what we expect from the Bengals offensively. We'll get to the defense later. But offensively, this is what you expected on so many fronts. Amarius Mims comes in there like out of nowhere, and he's blocking it all up, and he's looking good. Let me just give you one thing about Joe Burrow real quick. Joe Burrow currently, right now, after they told you he wasn't going to play, he'll never be the same. His best days were behind him. Is currently first in completion percentage in the whole entire AFC conference. He's currently first in touchdowns in the AFC conference. He's second in the AFC with 978 yards. He's second in the as far as like the highest, not the most, but second by only having one interception. His PFF grade is at 80.0, the second in the national in the AFC as well. His passer rating is 105.9. He is cooking, and this offense is cooking to the level that we always said that we wanted to.
Yeah, I think the only thing hurting his case right now, I think I agree with you completely. I think Joe Burrow is playing at an elite level right now. It's very clear. You would probably say, which sounds crazy to say this, Sam Darnold is probably the only person with some higher numbers, which is crazy because it's Sam Darnold. We know that he's not better than Burrow. The thing that's going against him, I think, for the MVP right now is just wins, right? Like, wins. I agree with you. I think and a lot of that stuff, he hasn't been the reason for them losing, in my opinion, outside of maybe the first game. Like, to me, the first game is the only way you can look at him and say he didn't do enough in that game. But every other game, he's balled out. Like, I don't think, and I saw these weird talk show hosts and these sports analysts like talking about like, oh, well, Joe Burrow gets all of these excuses, so this is on him. And it's like, did you look at the numbers? Have you seen what he's been doing from a statistic standpoint? I don't know. Some people are just going to be box score people, or people that are just going to look at Google and say, well, he's got an interception. Well, that interception, it looked like, seemed to be kind of a communication issue or something there. So that didn't seem like it was an actual turnover-worthy play. But I think the only thing that's keeping him from that, which I hate, is that the Bengals' record is what it is. But I think if the Bengals start to go on a run, he definitely is a person that you could look at for the MVP. Because when you look at his numbers in comparison to Josh Allen's, obviously Josh Allen's has some of those running kind of statistics in there. But when you look at the passing ones, like, he's right there, and he has more than Josh Allen, especially based off of what Josh Allen did last night. And a lot of people were saying last week that Josh Allen, hands down, is the MVP right now, or the early favorite for the MVP. So I think, like you're saying, I think that Joe Burrow is the theme of this season. Like, it's really shifting to a situation where it's on Joe Burrow. The thing that I love, though, is that they're complimenting him with this run game as well. Not only is he cooking through the air, but they're also cooking with gas on the ground with Chase Brown, bro. I'm just saying, RB1, Chase Brown is looking like, it still seems like it's going to be a 50-50 split, because that's what we saw in this game, right? 15 attempts for each one. But when you gave Chase Brown those 15 carries, he showed you what to do with it. And that's not a shot at Zach Moss at all. Like, I think Zach Moss is a great complementary piece to him. I just think, like we saw in this game, Chase Brown has another gear that he can hit where that yards per carry can be up there in the 6, 7s. Like the numbers just don't lie with Chase Brown. He's doing his thing when it comes
he's second
to
in the national football. He's second in the National Football
Bro,
League in yards per
Chase
carry.
Brown is like that.
Did y'all hear that?
Did y'all hear that? Like he's
Chase
like that.
Brown is second in the National Football Leagues in yards per carry. I'm not mad at the district. The Moss and Chase Brown, I like that because Moss blocking on third down, the pass pro stuff that everybody talked about, the toughness to get that touchdown and stuff like that. I think it's perfect. I think that you could serve and you keep Chase Brown keep him healthy throughout the whole entire season. And if one of them were to get dinged up, you'll see the uptick that you want. But I think that the complementary, way to the district, I think you might have some games where Chase Brown gets more carries than Zach Moss. Zach Moss might get some. I'm not mad at it because I see the long-term thing. It's like Chase Brown is going to be the guy, like eventually.
The other good, the 65-yard touchdown. That has shades of the Chiefs one to me. That reminded me of that Chiefs joint he had, the 65-yarder, people just bouncing off of him.
Remind me of the Ravens one. It reminded me of the Ravens.
I can see the Ravens one too because he got out of it. Yeah. Nah, that's Ravens probably a better one.
It reminded me of the Ravens one. It reminded me what we did to Marlon Humphrey. That's what it reminds me
Ravens
of.
week, huh? Yeah.
Marlon Humphrey still play for the Ravens, don't he? Marlon Humphrey still play for the Ravens, right?
What used to be Marlon Humphrey still play for them. I don't know.
Because they telling, we caught him when he was in his prime. They tried to tell us that we was playing backups and stuff like that when we put 40 on him. It reminded me of Jamar Chase when he was going against Marlon Humphrey. That's what it reminded me.
Some of those dudes are in their starting secondary now, right? Or nah? Are they?
At the time, they told us that Brandon Stevens was a Walmart worker and all this other stuff. They told us that
now it's Jamar Chase won't catch nothing on him, ain't it? Isn't that what they say now?
They tell me Adolphus Washington or whatever, bro. They said that these are Walmart workers and they're not even their real players, but those are the dudes that are out there on the football field for them every week. Those are the guys that I remember, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Mawson, and doing that to Brandon Stevens and all that stuff like that. Those are the guys that I'm talking about. They still play for the Ravens.
Yeah, but we'll get to that on Wednesday, man. We got stuff to talk about with them, but let's get back to.
Can I say something real quick on the Joe Burrow joint? I wasn't even. I think you talked about the MVP thing. I don't even care about the MVP. I just was talking about Joe Burrow's cooking. And for me, just for me, straight up. Like we could talk, like Joe Burrow would be an MVP candidate. If he wins this game coming up on Sunday, he'll be at the top of the leaderboard for the MVP because he actually has the numbers to back it up. Whereas some other people or some other quarterbacks are winning just throwing 15 times a game and then coasting with all pros and running backs and stuff like that. Joe Burrow's actually throwing for 300 and stuff every single damn game or averaging 260 a game, and he's throwing 2-3 touchdowns every single week. So that's what an MVP quarterback generally looks like. If he wins the games, I think he'll be at the leaderboard for the MVP conversation, especially if he wins this game coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about Erick All, some of the stuff that he's doing. T. Higgins, how do you think T. Higgins looked in his second game back?
I think T. Higgins looked pretty damn good. He no drops. He had a higher grade than Jamar. If you go and rewatch the game earlier today, because I didn't catch every single element of the game because I had like shoddy service where I was at. So rewatching it, I thought his route running and stuff was Kris. I think this upcoming week or whatever, I think he's going to get more targets than Jamar Chase and all of them, just like he did the year before. I think he's going to be a really important part moving forward. And I think, BETUS or your parlay, if you got T. Higgins over under, I'm taking the over on all that. I think T. Higgins moving forward. And you talked about Erick All. I think the utilization of 12 personnel, Erick All now becoming like tight end one, honestly. When you start to really break down how much they can use him, how they can use him, and how successful they are when they're running with him blocking. Him blocking out there, him and Zach Moss and Pass Pro and Erick All blocking are one of the key catalysts to anything that the Bengals have done, even in these losses when the offense looked good. Those guys really have carved out a great path on this team. I wish the staff would take all of the players that have talent and utilize them the same way that they're doing Erick All and use that to some of the players on the defense. But Erick All, to his credit, has gotten the opportunities and balled out. T. Higgins, I think he's looking for an uptick this upcoming week.
Yeah, I think if you're outside of Cincinnati, you probably don't know much about Erick All. Like you said, not only is he making plays in the passing game, he is making plays in the run game. Some of those blocks that were sprung were from Erick All making those plays happen as a rookie. Definitely looks like he's tight end one. Could end up being that guy going forward. But T. Higgins, I thought, looked good as well back. Yoshi had kind of a one big catch in the game. It did end up helping the Bengals out on a conversion there. So Yoshi has some stuff.
Did you see that throw? Did you see that throw?
Yeah, the throw was crazy.
What? Like, what? That's what I'm sorry. I know that people want this show to be about, let's talk about the defense. I'm sorry, bro. I had the best quarterback, or this guy's playing like the best quarterback in football. I'm sorry. That throw is nuts. Did y'all see that throw? Y'all remember the throw that he threw to Uzomah in the playoffs game and the Raiders game? It's the same damn throw, except he threw it in between three people. Yoshi hanging on to that. Shout out to my bro Yoshi. That's a twin. Let's get it.
Nah, for sure, for sure. Let's talk about the defense, bro. Defense was a little rough in this one. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not expecting perfection, especially after what we saw, in the Commanders game. It was tough to watch it sometimes. I'm obviously we won. I'm not trying to be like cynical or anything like that. But they was kind of letting Dalton and some of these dudes cook. I mean, I'm looking and seeing what's the kid from South Carolina, the receiver, the one that's got the super country voice. Xavier Legette is going crazy. And I'm like, Legette hasn't done anything this whole season. Like, what's going on? A lot of missed tackles out there.
A big one last week.
They made the plays when it, I guess, mattered, but they didn't really stop anybody. And that's kind of one of the concerns that I came out of this game with from that perspective. Obviously, I'm good with the win, and I was on record as saying I don't care how they got it. They just needed to get it. But it was a weird game, like to see CTB get benched at certain points and them taking them out of the game, throwing them back in, seeing DJ Turner out there. It was a little weird, like especially like I know people have been on Von Bell, but to see them keep Von Bell out there when he's missing tackles and stuff like that, it was just I just don't know what the Bengals defense is right now as it stands. And I'm just so thrown off because the first 2 weeks I thought this defense was good. Like I'm like, all right, we straight. But now I just don't have the confidence in this defense like I used to. And I felt like that's what I kind of was worried about during the game. And I'm like, I was at a point where I was just like, Joe Burrow, save me. Joe Burrow, just get us out. Like, I don't know if I can.
Joe Burrow, save me is crazy.
Joe Burrow, save me mode was activated, I feel like, in this game. I'm going to tell you. Not to bash them, bro, but I don't think we played up to our standard. Like, a team like, I feel like we played down to the Carolina Panthers, and I know people know that I'm not a huge Andy Dalton fan, but I don't know, bro. Like, I can understand Jaden Daniels a little bit. Even though 91% completion percentage is crazy, I can kind of understand it because we just saw Jaden Daniels cook again last night or whatever. But the Panthers, like, I'm like, yeah, nah, fam. I can't.
Can I give you a little bit though? Dalton last week though looked crazy though.
He did look crazy.
I think he's in a good rhythm when you watch him throw. He missed the one little throw on the third down. It was like a little out route. He had the running back on the flat. That was like the only real throw I thought he missed. I thought I can't wait to talk about the defense or whatever. I don't know if you were done, but I will say, just like we were kind of thinking that about the Commanders, I don't know who the Panthers play next week, but I bet you he throw for like 250, 300 yards though. Dalton is in a nice little rhythm. He looks like he feels comfortable in the offense, honestly. I'm not saying that as an excuse on why the defense was so terrible, but I think that he's going to do that to like a lot of teams. And I think just like we were talking about Jaden Daniels, like why are they cooking? They went the whole first half in the Cardinals game and they didn't play again. And then they put up 40-something on them. The Cardinals aren't good, but I mean, the Bengals really aren't good either on defense as well. So, but they put up 40-something. But I'm just putting it in the perspective. Like, I don't think it's as egregious.
But the missed tackles, though, bro. The missed tackles is nasty to see. Like, I've never like. I'm not trying to complain, bro, because like we got a dub. I
am. When it's my go, I'm gonna complain.
But the missed tackles, bro, like it's nasty. It's nasty. Like they can't continue to miss tackles at the rate that they're doing it at. And it's like, I don't know if certain people are getting playing times. And I'm not talking about any specific. I'm just speaking my mind, bro. Like, I don't know why certain players get playing time. I don't know if it's because the C's are on the chest or what it is. But it's like they get a longer leash than certain players. Like, we talk about CTB, right? CTB had an issue. He got taken out. I'm seeing other players with issues, but they're not being taken out. And they're being given different chances. They're getting played at other positions. They're getting all kinds of stuff, all of these kind of accommodations. And I'm not seeing the change that we really need to see on defense. And that is what worries me, because it's like, I almost kind of feel like it's the reverse of what the Bengals in 2021 were, right? Bengals had a talented, now the defense isn't the level of what the Bengals were talented as far as the offensive weapons, right? But remember when we would go through these things, like the defense had to kind of carry the offense because the offense was just so inconsistent. It wasn't that the offense wasn't good. The offense just wasn't inconsistent, right? We get like a second quarter Jamar Chase bomb before halftime, and the defense would do these things where they're holding offenses to 3 and outs. They get turnovers. Even if the ball wasn't moving or people got good field position, they're holding them to 3. And it felt like, all right, during these inconsistencies, we're trying to hold the offense to what they need to do or hold the offense up. Now I feel like it's reversed. I feel like it's the opposite of that. And it's scary to me because the defense, I don't think that there's a situation where you could do that with a defense where a defense is just getting killed and your offense is trying to protect your defense and keep your defense out of compromising situations. And I'm just not so sure that the Bengals offense can handle that pressure as it is right now in these certain situations where they're going against explosive offenses. It used to be the defense that could kind of stick up, weather the storm during these good offenses like the Chiefs and some of these people like that. And I just don't know if you can really do that in reverse. Like, that's my only thing is the defense has got to hold something, bro. Like, they're not giving us anything. They're letting drives get extended. And to me, with it being that flip-flop of what it is, that's the only part of it that scares me because, you know, defense being leaky, I don't think you can really cover that. I don't really like, somebody sent me the little thing. You know how the dude slaps the little whatever it is on the water that's spilling out? Like, I don't think the defense, we can do that for the defense. You could do it for the offense when the defense is playing, but I don't know if we can have the offense cover for the defense, which is crazy because you used to say back in the day, your offense is your defense, which I agree with, but there's certain circumstances with the way teams play us, like them running the ball to keep Joe Burrow and us into these situations where our opportunities are limited and all of that. Like, it's hard to do that. Like, that's my only issue with it.
Okay. I think I got a lot of issues with the defense. So as much as I gave a lot of credit to the offense, the defense is on the opposite end of the spectrum. I think it's a bottom 5 defense, or at least they're playing like a bottom 5 defense in the National Football League right now. They did make some key stops yesterday. If I'm being kind of optimistic, I will say this. If Joe Burrow hits Jamar Chase on that throw, if Jamar Chase just keeps on running, like our team is created off of offense, and we pay everybody on offense. You don't really have that many defensive specialists and the guys that whatever. So my expectations probably aren't as high. But if Joe Burrow hits Jamar Chase on the one where they had to miss the miscommunication and Jamar Chase runs the other way, we're talking about the Bengals just beat the hell out of the Panthers and they scored 40 points. So I am mindful of that. Like we wouldn't be saying, oh, they beat them by 10. It'd be like a 17 to 20 point victory and you put 40 on them. You score 40 something points on anybody, like you're the better team by far. You know how hard it is to score 40 points? So that one thing I think changes the conversation a little bit. But the defense itself, the way that it's constructed, and I've said this all season, the way that it's constructed is for the Bengals to score and get leads and then make teams have to pass. In none of these games, except the Chiefs game, which they were able to exploit that. That's the only game that you could say that they had a good lead and they were able to use what I think is their superpower, and that's Lou Anarumo in coverage if the other team is down and they're forced to pass. So when you're playing like these close games, I said this before the season started. I said this week 1. I said this against the Commander. Everything that the Bengals want to do, they're not built to be in the AFC North and have a slug match game where people are trading punches in the trenches. That's just not who they are. And if they are, they can maybe be like that with Sheldon Rankins, BJ Hill, and the starters back, right? Maybe up front you start to win a little bit more. You can put more pressure on them. But the defense, if they're behind or they're tied up with somebody, that's not who they are. They're too reliant on the offense, the way that the team is constructed. To me, that's a whole nother conversation. So that's my expectations level. But the reality is this. The Bengals currently right now up front, they're like below average without those starting guys. And it's really not as bad as I thought it would be run defense-wise. I know that sounds crazy because teams been running 100-something yards every single week. But part of that is by design because Lou's going to give you up some runs or whatever. But when, like Ace was saying, they'll be able to hold serve up front, and then you'll have a missed tackle from a safety, a linebacker, a corner, damn near every single play. The only game that wasn't like that was the Chiefs, and that was because I felt like they were never pushing like the intermediates or anything like that. They were just throwing at the line of scrimmage a lot and getting out like one-on-ones in space. For teams that have a fullback like this upcoming week or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like they can't. None of the safeties, none of them shed blocks. The number one thing I will say too is the pass rush. Osai had a much better game than what we've seen. That was his best game of the season this past week. I don't know what his PFF grade is or whatever, but he actually got pressures and he actually got closer to the quarterback Andy Dalton than Trey Hendrickson. But the number one catalyst to why I think that this defense is so bad is the pass rush is non-existent. So when the quarterback is dropping back, he has all the time in the world to decipher. And then when it is a run and somebody throws and they're doing like an RPO or something like that, the team is so stagnant and so flat-footed, ready to make a tackle because they just missed so many other tackles. So then when you go see a guy throwing and they're hitting like the deep intermediates and everything like that, you're probably as a Bengal fan saying, why is everybody open? It's because the pass rush is so bad that it's just eventually after 3 seconds, somebody going to be open. And it goes hand in hand with the run support. The second level, the safeties are getting back because they're trying to figure out, I need to get into this coverage depending on, sometimes they've been running Tampa 2, sometimes they've been running a little bit of cover 2, and sometimes they're staying just like their base nickel. But in all of those different circumstances, they're going coverage because they have no CCBs of the world and everybody like that have to cover like amazing because they have nobody to pressure the quarterback. So all the quarterbacks get a chance to play us, with the exception of maybe Brissett. I feel like Trey Hendrickson had his way with him. I thought Trey Hendrickson had his way against the Chiefs too, but it just isn't enough because that's Pat Mahomes.
Trey Hendrickson, by the way, is also okay after this. It was just a stinger for those listening.
It's just a
He
stinger,
left
but
the game with the neck. Yep.
that doesn't mean that he's going to play 100% too. So there's something to monitor the practices and everything like that. Sometimes you need a week or two for a stinger, depending on what the doctor says. But just going back to the pass rush, it's so bad that it's a domino effect. There are a lot of teams right now that their corners look good because the pass rush, like if you go watch the Steelers play, that is the best defensive line in football right now. And the way that they play, and I know they lost their game, but the way that they play up front, you can't even really expose the corners like that much because the ball got to come out. The Bengals are never in that position. So corners that we like CTB, they get cooked because that little half a second that they have to think, oh, okay, do I have to help and run support or not? Okay, and once think about the Rashee Rice and then think about the first one that he gave up. Those are two ones where he's like looking, okay, is it a run? And then all of a sudden, quarterback's dropping back. He's like, oh, damn, I got to get on my high horse and get back. And so that's how it goes. And then the type of corner he is, he tries to make chances. I mean, he takes chances. I'm not mad at CTB. I think he'll be fine. I think that what they need to do, Zay Flowers is coming off a game just where he had one catch or two catches for like 10 yards. Still, he will cook CTB right now because right now it's in CTB's head. They need to put CTB on the lesser wide receiver like Bateman or something this upcoming week, and I think he'll be fine. But the bigger issue, I keep on saying, is the pass rush. You can help Dax Hill on the other side. You could do all these different things, but if you aren't getting any pass rush, then it makes it so that it's so tough for you to decipher, is this a rushing play or not? And so now you're on your back foot and then you're breaking tackles. Part of it is the defense. They need to change out and get a meta in it. I do not want to go. I've said this so many times. I do not want to go through the AFC North and not see a meta. I do not want to go through the AFC North and not see a Jordan Battle. I do not want to go through the AFC North and not see a KJ Henry. These are all guys that can hit, that are physical, and you need them in those type of games more so than communication. You need guys that need to be aggressive, assertive, diagnose, process, and hit. You can't be thinking, because when those guys like Avon Bell or somebody like that, you see him with a missed tackle, he's trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? Meta is going to come out that joint. I don't care if you burn him on a pass play. He's attacking. The mesh point of a read option or something, he's hitting. He hitting Lamar. I don't care if he's hitting the ball over or not. Meta going to hit somebody. He's perfect. So to me, those are the type of guys that you got to have in certain games. And the Panthers game is a great example because that's a team that wants to rush the ball. They had to exploit you because they've been throwing the ball really well. So off the break, Andy Dalton's like, I got all the time in the world. Give my guy a shot. You know what I'm saying? In a team that's going to run the ball like next week, that doesn't want to they don't want to throw the football. They want to run the football. You need guys that need to be able to diagnose what they're seeing and attack. And battling guys like that, he might get a legal hit or whatever you want to call it because he's a headhunter. And in the AFC North, this ain't for the faint of heart. After the Ravens whooped up on the Bills yesterday, you know what the Bills fans was doing online, crying about like, oh my God, Marlon Humphrey, he took my eye. We done seen the Bengals get punched in their stomach, stepped on, all types of stuff, hit after the play on our star players. This is a game that is physical when you get into the North. The Panthers, I think that they're weak, but they're a running team. Primarily, they want to run. And when you get in games like that, you can't be coming out there with your nickel packages. Even a Dejon Anthony, he's going to be more physical, ball hawking, jump. Like, I wouldn't even mind Geno Stone coming out in favor of Dejon, but they pay these guys the money like Sam Hubbard. They pay the guys like Geno Stone or whatever, and they just don't even sub them out because they're just following and tracing the money and saying that's the starter. But the Lou Anarumo I know would interchange all of that and move it from week to week, and I'm very disappointed in him.
Man, the interesting thing was when you talk about the cornerback percentages, CCB got 51% of the snaps. Looks like Mike Hilton got 69% of the snaps. DJ Turner got 73% of the snaps, and Dax Hill had 91% of the snaps. So they used a bit of a rotation. Jordan Battle with one snap, bruh. The fact that Josh Newton is getting more snaps then Jordan Battle is insane to me. 16% of the snaps is what Josh
How many
Newman is
snaps
getting.
said Johnson get? How many snaps said Johnson get?
24 snaps, so
Okay.
34%, which is
Okay.
higher than
Cool.
I actually expected,
That's
right?
good.
And then
All right.
you had Lawrence Guy get 43% as well. Sam Hubbard still ended up with 80% of the snaps. From what I heard, he played a little 3-tech as well. You got Kris Jenkins in at 22 snaps. That's 31%. So a little interest in there. We'll see how things go moving forward. But I agree with you, bro. They gotta switch some stuff up on defense. They gotta try some different things. And they need Myles Murphy bad. Edge rush is not there. Like, yeah, Myles Murphy. I saw you had a tweet out there. Like, we need him to show up like Clark Kent in about a week.
They like Clark Kent with the glasses.
Yeah, we're gonna need him. We're gonna need him for sure.
But this is the crazy thing. I don't even really need. I mean, of course, we need him in pass rush, but his run defense and his athleticism, especially in a game like this, if he's just keeping Lamar like in front of him, bouncing to the perimeters and everything like that, I need the run defender Myles Murphy with his athleticism.
I'm gonna go off the cuff after we pay some bills real quick. You guys already know this show is sponsored by BETUS. We actually got a new promo going on right now where you're able to get 150% match on your first 3 deposits. That promo code is YouTube150. So make sure you guys check them out. BETUS, our sponsor of the show. Make sure that you guys take advantage of some of the nice bets that they have over there. We always do the Wincy Play of the Week, which hit, by the way. We expected the Bengals to cover by 4 points. They ended up covering by 10. So make sure that you guys take full advantage of bets over there at BETUS. So another thing that I wanted to talk about that is a little, I'm veering off the script, partner, because I saw this earlier. It kind of made me a little mad. Somebody in the comments just talked about it too. The Brad Robbins situation. With Rico being basically statistically the best punter in the NFL, Brad Robbins is designated to return to the roster from IR. Now, from what people are saying, the Bengals have no choice in doing this because they made this designation early in the season, and you have to bring a punter back. I don't know who they're cutting though. Who are you cutting for Brad Robbins? Like, to me, that is roster malpractice. I know we said we're not going to talk about the front office stuff before the show, right? But bruh, what are we doing when we're talking about we're not keeping Rico and we're doing some roster gymnastics for Brad Robbins? That's who we doing this for, Mr. Eggman, Buddy LaRosa.
I saw this on the internet, and I think a lot of people. I don't feel comfortable having a final say on this because this is the information that I got. And I think a lot of people aren't paying attention to this part or whatever. The Bengals designated him as one of their 2 players that IR returned prior to final cuts, so he already counted towards their 8 or 10 if that makes the playoffs. Regardless of this move, if they waived him straight from IR, they have to injury settle, I believe. That avoids that. So I think it's like a strategic move, and I don't know exactly like how that works, but I think everybody's factored in a little bit differently. And I think no matter
what. Are you saying that he doesn't count towards the roster, or he's already counting towards the roster?
That's the information that I got, like, from somebody inside the building when people were asking about this a lot, where I think it's a little bit of strategy that people aren't understanding. But he was already designated to return prior to the final cuts. He'd probably do like an injury settlement or something like that coming up, and it avoids that by them doing this right now. So I think it's a little bit of strategy that people are kind of like selling,
overanalyzing it. Okay,
overanalyzing.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. When I saw it, and I'm like, Rico is that dude. What are y'all talking?
Yeah, Bengals. Bengals ain't.
To me, I felt like after Rico had that joint where he made the record, I was like, punt Robbins off the roster. Like now, like you said though, it's definitely and that's why I'm not a part of the front office, because I don't know the intricacies of all of that, like what has to be done, rules that have to be followed. But it seems like there needs to
I
be
think
stuff
if I could guess, I feel like they're gonna cut him like later on this week or something like that, and they just did this temporary to avoid like the injury thing or something. They probably got some deal where he gets a game check or something coming up. I don't know all the details to it, but the Bengals ain't stupid enough to bring back Brian Robbins when Rico is like the second best punter in the National Football League.
Yeah, bro. They can't do that. If they gotta keep two punters on the roster to do that,
hell no. I would be pissed. I think that's a little wait and see for me before I get on. I'm more upset with Meta not playing at some point, Kris Jenkins getting less snaps than when you were just doing the numbers. Yeah. Zach Carter is ranking out of one of the worst in all of football as far as pass rush. He is the worst, 100 out of 132. So you get nothing from a pass rush standpoint. I get it. He's an interior defensive lineman the way that they're playing him, but you got to give me a little something. And then
you want Kris Jenkins to out snap Zach Carter?
Hell yeah! Like that fourth down stop he had earlier. I mean, the week before he shares the block, hits the dude. Like, bro, he
had that plays. This week. You talking about against the Panthers on the goal line?
No, he had another one last week in his first game with the club. He did the fourth down stop was this week with the Panthers. He's been making plays like, yeah, he's a dog, bro. Like, and he's doing that with a club. Kris Jenkins needs to have more snaps than Zach Carter. That to me, that's malpractice. Like Kris Jenkins, I know he's got the club on his hand, but
you think that's why? Do you think it's the club is why? Like,
I think bringing guys in. Yeah, for sure.
Still making plays with the club, though, right? Like you're saying, like he's still making plays with the club. So I guess even if he's handicapped, you saying that he's better than Zach Carter?
Yes, he is. Yeah. Yes, he is. And I think that's very clear, like already that he's better than him. So that's the same conversation that we've been having with Burton. I think Charlie Jones still was getting. Didn't he get a snap at wide receiver this past week? I thought I saw him.
I think it was like
I thought I saw him.
3 snaps and Burton got 4.
Why are we still giving? I know it's just 3 snaps, but why am I still giving Charlie Jones any snaps? Everybody told us that Burton didn't know Everybody told us that Burton didn't know the playbook and he didn't know all this and da. But Charlie Jones gets out there and he looks like a straight up bum, muscle punt, not a weapon on wide receiver. After you seen Burton give us damn near the biggest play of the season with the 47-yard play, why is Burton not getting 7? Why is Burton not getting 7 snaps or 10 snaps total? And I got to give any to Charlie Jones. Like, does that make sense to anybody? Like, why am I giving him any snaps?
Doesn't make sense, man. Doesn't make sense. Also, what doesn't make sense is if you're not taking care of your grooming needs with our sponsor, Manscaped. All right, guys, it's the best time of the year. Football's back. We're talking Sundays, college football Saturdays, and glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. This is where your inner GM comes alive, setting the perfect fantasy roster, screaming at your TV, and making last-minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy that everyone ridicules in the group chat. But listen, while you're over there making sure your fantasy team is dialed in, don't let your personal grooming become the guy that gets you left on the bench. Let's be honest. Nobody wants to fumble their grooming routine, and that's where Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp down there below the Lawnmower 5.0 to taking care of those rogue ear and nose hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0, this is the lineup that'll keep you looking like a champ on and off the field. Join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by heading to manscaped.com using the code WINCY for 20% off and free shipping. Trust me, you guys need to check out Manscaped. Make sure you use our promo code WINCY at checkout. We appreciate you guys. And shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring the show. We appreciate them partnering up with us. All right, bro. Let's talk about Amarius Mims. Let's talk about some good stuff. We start piling on the defense. We start saying all of this other stuff. let's also talk about some of the good things. Amarius Mims had his first start, did really good as a rookie. Bengals look like they got their right tackle of the future. I mean, this dude seems like it was a slam dunk pick. It kind of played out how we kind of thought that it would a little bit. Like there was a possibility with the risk that Trent Brown could get hurt. In that event, you had a stud right tackle ready to step in and protect. He did his thing. He pretty much erased Clowney. Remember the Clowney episode? Clowney. He erased Jadeveon Clowney from this game.
Nah, Mims is a dog, bro. Mims is a dog.
For sure, bro. Let me see. We got another bill to pay. Let's go ahead and holler at those boys from Midwest Best Barbecue.
G-Funk wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. It's the AC to the Zim, M into the B's. Uno wings, G-Funk wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Say what up to Jordan Battle. We be going to battle. Intercepting balls like CTV did on Seattle. Putting 6 up on AZ. Juice gang amazing. Make sure you come get these wings, cause Zimby stay blazing. And T-Game be smooth as ice. Jamal making DBs fold. TV got big levels, and now you already know. It's so pretty for Uno wings. Cam got the new wings. We call them CTBs. Only at MBs. H to the Zim. M into the B's.
Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Make sure you stop in and get you some Uno wings, CTB wings, Dillinator wings. Do whatever you need to do to get on over to Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Shout out to them for also being a sponsor. Zim had to step out, so you guys are going to be able to finish the show up with me. He had something that he needed to attend to, but we kind of talked about the recapping of the Panthers game. I thought that the offense looked really good. I just thought that the defense needed to look a little bit better. If you guys are joining us a little late here, Amarius Mims really stepped into that role, did his thing. The Bengals running back tandem really struck out in this one. Zach Moss was able to get that much-needed touchdown. One of the things that I didn't like, though, is that the Bengals' red zone offense has been a little up and down. I'm glad that they were able to kind of battle through it and power through it. I just hope that, especially when you're going against teams like the Ravens and these teams moving forward, that those are going to start to slow down in terms of it being issues there. The defensive struggles, I'm hoping the same. I'm not expecting this to be a defense that's just perfect, elite, and is able to pretty much shut down everybody, but they have to get some stops here or there. From a snap count standpoint, it seems like Erick All is tight end 1 now. I'm good with that. You see Drew Sample is tight end 2. He's doing his thing. Chase Brown is becoming RB1. It seems like he's emerging as that, even though it's really just from a carry standpoint. Zach Moss is still going to handle a lot of the pass blocking, and of that, he's going to end up getting more snaps, which he out-snapped Chase Brown 40 to 27. So Chase Brown had 40% of the total snaps, which makes sense. But I think the Bengals like the spot that they're at right now in terms of where they are offensively. I think that there's room for improvement defensively. We'll see special teams-wise how that affects them moving forward. But shout out to the Bengals for going out and getting dub number 1. And shout out to you guys for tapping into the Wincinnati podcast. Please be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this with your friends. We always appreciate you guys rocking out with us. I am Ace. Zim will be back with me Wednesday as we break down the Ratbirds. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Wincinnati podcast.